In 1951, a 6-year-old boy named Luis disappeared from a park in Oakland, California while playing with his brother and friends. He was not found for more than 70 years. This is the true story of how he was taken, how he lived a whole life without knowing the truth, and how his family never stopped hoping. It is a story of love, pain, and a miracle that happened in 2024. Luis was born in Puerto Rico. His mother, Antonia, gave birth to 6 children. Life in Puerto Rico was hard. There was not enough money, and jobs were few. In 1950, Antonia heard that California had work. Many Puerto Rican families were moving there after World War II. The war had ended, and America needed workers. Antonia decided to take a big step. She packed clothes, a few pots, and her children. They got on a ship and sailed to the United States. The trip took many days. The children were excited and scared. Luis was only 5 years old at that time. When they arrived in California, they moved to Oakland. Oakland is a city near San Francisco in the United States. It has a big port and many factories. The family lived in a neighborhood called West Oakland. Their house was small. It had thin walls and a tiny kitchen, but it was home. Antonia worked very hard. In the morning, she picked fruit in big fields outside the city. The sun was hot and her back hurt, but she kept going. In the evening, she came home and sewed gloves. She used a needle and thread to make leather gloves for a factory. Her fingers moved fast. Every glove meant a little more money for food. The children helped too. The older ones watched the younger ones. Luis and his older brother Roger played outside a lot. Roger was 10 years old. He was the big brother. He looked after Luis. They spoke Spanish at home. At school, they learned English. Life was not easy, but the family was together. That was what mattered. One fateful Wednesday on February 21st, 1951. The weather was cool and clear. Antonia let Luis and Roger go to Jefferson Square Park to play. The park was close to their house. It had swings, a slide, and green grass. Many children played there. Mothers sat on benches and talked, but on this day, Antonia was home, and the children were unsupervised by her. That day, she dressed Luis with a white shirt and short pants. His hair was black and curly, he had big brown eyes and a happy smile. Roger and Luis ran to the park after lunch. They played a tag. They laughed loudly. Other kids joined them. Suddenly, a woman walked into the park. She was about 30 years old. She wore a simple skirt and a blouse. A bandana covered her hair. She looked at the boys and smiled. She spoke in Spanish. "Hello, children. Do you want candy?" Luis loved candy. He did not get it often. The woman said, "Come with me. I will buy you candy." She held out her hand. Luis took it. He trusted her. She seemed nice, like a mother. Roger was not sure. He said, "Wait, Luis." But Luis was already walking. The woman talked softly. She said the candy store was just around the corner. Roger followed a few steps. Then he got scared. He ran home fast. He burst into the house. "Mommy! Luis went with a lady!" he shouted. A neighbor was there with Antonia visiting. They ran to the park. She called, "Luis! Luis Armando!" No answer. Her heart beat fast. Antonia looked everywhere. Under the slide, behind the trees, nothing. She quickly alerted the police. The police came quickly. Roger, the 10-year-old brother, told them everything. She spoke Spanish. She said candy. She took his hand. The police wrote it down. The park was near the water, so they thought maybe Luis fell in. They searched the waters. He wasn't there. That night, many people searched. Police, neighbors, even soldiers from a nearby army base. They used flashlights. They walked along the water. The Coast Guard sent boats. They dragged nets in the bay. They found nothing. The next day, the newspaper had a big story. The Oakland Tribune said, "Child missing from Oakland Park." They put a photo of Luis and Roger. The boys were smiling in the picture. The paper said, "Luis is 6 years old. He is 4 feet 2 inches tall. He weighs 50 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair. He was wearing a white shirt and shorts." Flyers went up all over the city, on telephone poles, in stores, at bus stops. "Have you seen this boy?" People looked at the picture. They hoped. But days passed, then weeks. No one saw Luis. The woman was gone. No one knew her name. No one saw her face clearly. She disappeared like smoke. Antonia was broken. As a mother, she felt guilty of leaving her kids alone. She cried every night, but she did not give up. She went to the police station many times. At first, it was every day. Then every week, then every month. She brought Luis's photo every time. "Please find my baby," she said. Her English was not good, but her eyes said everything. She kept Luis's picture on the wall at home. It was right in the living room. Everyone saw it when they came in. On his birthday, she put a cake on the table. She lit candles. She sang even if he was not there. Roger felt bad. He thought, "I should have held Luis's hand. I should have stopped him." But he was only 10. The guilt stayed with him forever. He grew quiet. He did not talk much about that day. Antonia's other children grew up. They went to school, some got jobs, some got married, but the family always talked about Luis. At Christmas, at birthdays, "Remember your brother Luis," Antonia said. "He is out there somewhere." Years went by. 1951 became 1961. Then 1971. Luis would have been a teenager, then a man. The family looked at old photos. They wondered what he looked like now. In 1966, when Luis would have been 21, the family tried again. They checked army records. Many young men had to join the military. Maybe Luis was one of them. But no, nothing. Antonia got older. Her hair turned gray. Her hands shook when she sewed. But she never stopped hoping. She prayed every day. She said, "God, bring my son home." In 2005, Antonia got sick. She had cancer. She was 82 years old. She died in her bed. Luis's photo was next to her. Her last words were about him. "He is alive. I know it." The family was sad. But they kept the hope. They told the story to the grandchildren. "Never forget Tío Luis," they said. Tío means uncle in Spanish. Finally, when hope seems lost, a breakthrough happens. A young girl named Alida, Luis's niece, became randomly curious. Her mother was one of Antonia's daughters. Alida was born in 1961. She grew up in Oakland. She heard the story of Uncle Luis many times. At family parties, people talked. A woman took him with candy. Mommy never stopped looking. Alida was a little girl. She looked at Luis's photo on the wall. She wondered, where is he? Alida grew up. She got married, she had children, then grandchildren. She worked hard, but the story stayed in her heart. In the year 2020, when Alida was 59, the world was quiet because of the coronavirus. People stayed home. Alida saw an ad for DNA tests. You spit in a tube, you send it, you learn about your family and its history. Alida thought, maybe I should do this for fun. She bought a kit, she sent her DNA. Weeks later, the results came. Most matches were cousins she knew, but one was different. A man on the East Coast. The match said 22%. That is strong. Like a brother or uncle. Alida's heart jumped. She counted her mother's brothers and sisters. She got to Luis. She stopped. This could be him, she thought. She wrote to the man online, but he did not answer. She waited. Life got busy and she forgot about it. But now, totally. Because in 2024, Alida saw a TV show. It was about old missing children. DNA found them after many years. Alida thought, maybe I can try again. She told her daughters, they helped, they looked online, they checked records, the DNA match was still there. Alida went to the Oakland Public Library. She used microfilm machines. These are old films of newspapers. She looked at 1951 papers. Her eyes hurt from reading the small letters. They were too many newspapers. However, one night, she found it. The Oakland Tribune. It dated the 22nd of February 1951. Big headline, child missing from Oakland Park. A photo of two boys, Luis and Roger, smiling. The story said everything the family remembered. Alida cried. She took photos of the article. She had proof. She went to the police. She showed the DNA. She showed them the article. The police listened. They opened the old file. It was Luis. He was the missing 6-year-old boy who was missing for 73 years. The police called the FBI. They took DNA from Alita's mother and they took DNA from Roger. They sent it to a lab. They found the man in New York. His name was Luis. He was retired. He was 79 years old. FBI agents went to his house. They knocked. Luis opened the door. "We need to talk," they said. They told him the story, the park, the woman, the family in California. Luis was shocked. He remembered the plane. He remembered a new name. But he did not believe it at first. They did a new DNA test. It matched 100%. It was true. On the 20th of June, 2024, 2 police officers went to Alita's mother's house. Alita was there. They said, "We found Luis! He is alive!" Alita screamed. They could not believe it. On the 24th of June, 2024, Luis flew to California. The FBI helped him. He got off the plane in Oakland. His family waited. Alita saw him first. He had gray hair. He looked strong. She ran to him. "Tio Luis," she said. "Uncle Luis." He hugged her tight. "Thank you for finding me," he said. He kissed her cheek. They went to a quiet place. They talked. Luis told her about his life, the Marines, the fire department, his children. The next day, June 25, they drove to see Roger, his older brother. Roger lived in another part of California. He was 93 years old. He was weak, but awake. Luis walked to the door. Roger saw him. They looked at each other. Then they hugged. A long, strong hug, like when they were boys. They sat outside. They talked for hours. About the park, about the war, about their lives. They laughed. They cried. Roger said, "I waited 73 years for this." Luis said, "I am sorry. I did not know." Luis stayed in California for a few weeks. He met many family members, cousins, nieces, nephews. He ate Puerto Rican food. He heard Spanish songs. He visited his mother's grave, Antonia. He put flowers there. In August 2024, Roger, his older brother, died. He was happy. Finally, he saw his brother. He died in peace. Luis went back to New York. He did not talk to newspapers. He wanted quiet. He wanted time with his 2 families, the one he grew up with, the one he just found. Alita said, "I never gave up. This can help other families. Keep hope, keep looking." The names of the couple, his foster parents who raised him, have not been publicly disclosed, as Luis has requested privacy, and the details are part of an ongoing investigation into his 1951 kidnapping. However, the individuals who raised him have since passed away, so they could give answers to Luis or the authorities regarding the circumstances of his adoption. It remains unclear whether the couple was directly involved in the initial abduction or if they adopted him through an illegal or legal system, possibly unaware of the kidnapping. Luis has chosen to remain out of the public eye and continues to live under a different name on the East Coast. The woman who abducted him was also never identified, but that does not matter now. Luis is home.